make the honey sweet enough, the bees will attract. This is nature, and it's something called biomimicry. When we mimic things in a biological space, that and put them in, make them apply them to us and make them work for us. And I think if you do whatever you're doing in your craft, you just become so flaming hot that someone's gonna come and get that honey. And when they take the honey, they're gonna carry your seeds throughout the world.
All right, it's recorded first and foremost. How's your Friday? What you got going on today?
Man, everything is so far so good. I'm here on the West Coast. I don't know what coast you on, but I'm
East Coast.
East Coast. Okay, yeah. So it's still early for me. I took my son to school this morning, and then went to the sauna. Just to relax a little bit. Now it's time to get into work mode.
Work mode, I love it, man. I mean, you've been in work mode for a while. What at your age, what do you tell yourself, to like motivate yourself? Because some days you just don't want to do it. So yeah, talk to me.
Well, for me, what I do is, as a writer or as a creative person, it's always like emotions. You always you're kind of more in tune with your emotions than most people who are maybe not artists or don't do what you do. So the first thing is getting all that balanced out. Whether it's drinking some tea, cup of coffee, meditation, yoga, going to the gym, just stabilizing yourself so you can be productive. Just and kind of not paying attention to everything you're hearing and listening. And with the internet and media, there's a lot of stuff going on. The first thing is just kind of centering yourself, looking at your phone, seeing your notes, and seeing what to attack first,
But it's important, especially if someone has been as consistent as you throughout the years, to get this partnership we're about to talk about. You got to have routine. And since I just mentioned partnership, can you let our audience know about the partnership and all the good things going on?
But a partnership with Kidi in Africa or Empire, which one?
Kidi.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
I think, obviously, I don't know all the partnerships that are going place throughout the world when it comes to Africa, but I know the partnership that I have with Kidi is kind of historic. It's monumental, it's futuristic, all in one. Because to this day, me and Kidi correspond every other day on Zoom, on WhatsApp, on social media, but we still never met in person to this day.
What?
So it's revolutionary that I started a label 3 years ago. He was my first artist. He's from Africa. It's rare that an American label or someone like myself starts a label, and doesn't go to his local talent. But it just was his music was the music I was brought up on. You know what I'm saying? Being from East New York, Brooklyn, you got Africans, you got Nigerians, you got Dominicans, you got Indian music, Haitian music, you got everything. So for me, coming from Bad Boy, people thought, okay, he's gonna start a new Bad Boy. You're gonna find him a singer who does, R&B, a male, female group. You're gonna, but for me, I wanted to show people that the music that I'm gonna be putting out on my label is gonna be reflective of my upbringing. And I think it's a historic event, just me being from America, me being African American, Kidi being from Ghana, an African, and we came together creatively and it worked. And we came together business-wise and it worked. And you hear people giving seminars, giving TED Talks and talking about how we all need to work together. And definitely over the past 3 years, I've actually been in that space.
How does that work? I'm curious.
Man, it just was it's the future. It's seeing that, you can, of course we spoke on video. You speaking, we went over album notes. We went over what should be the single, what should come next. me, how it initially started was how it's going now. And it's basically, I would go in my studio, I would make some music, and I would send it out. This particular time, I had a connection in Africa, a brother by the name of Tango.
Okay.
And he got, I said, hey man, I'm making music. I don't really have no artist, nobody to send it to in particular, but is there anybody in Africa I can collaborate with? So there was a label called Lynx Entertainment that had a nice roster of artists. And he met with the label owner, and he was giving him my record. Say, hey, this is from Jack Knight. He did so and so, and he wants to collaborate with more African artists. And he gave it to everybody in his roster. The only person that kept sending me music back, done. That means he would take my production, finish it off, take my writing, fix it up or add to it, and send it back. And after that happened about 3 or 4 times, then I began to inquire, like, who's this kid that sounds so good and also produces and also writes and also is so focused that each time I send him something, he sends it back. And that artist on their roster at Lynx was Kidi.
What are some of the challenges explaining to him, like how Americans conduct business in the music industry compared to over there, because they're still building?
Yes. I think pretty much with media, after MTV, you got the BETs, the Netflix, all those platforms are really heavy in Africa. And I think for me, we was always brought up, to seeing Africans, whether someone's sick or a village needs money, and that's all we saw. But these modern day Africans, these young kids, Africa, I think half of the population is like under 60, under 40, something crazy. So I think now they're definitely on the same wave and in tune with us. And in some areas, even more advanced. I mean, even though you come from a village and, their money may be not equal to the dollar, but in terms of creativity, in terms of fashion, is really going down out there. And I really love the way they dress. I really love their fashion. I love all of that. And I think for me, it was during the pandemic. We couldn't perform, we couldn't do shows, we couldn't really do in-person interviews, we couldn't go to YouTube or TikTok, we couldn't do none of the stuff that artists do. So we was forced to really be savages in a digital space, really going hard in the digital space. And I had a good feeling on the big records that we did together. I had a good feeling that if you added a little bit of familiarity, make it familiar track wise, mixing with the Afro beat or the high life music, because Ghanaians do Afro beats, but it's also a different form called high life, which is more percussion heavy, where all the percussions are really more higher than the bass and everything else. So essentially, to this day, me and Kidi maybe occasionally bump heads just on how much of that infusion or how little that infusion, because I know people will love your music from New York and Connecticut, but I want them to play it every day. I want them to play it in the club every day. You know what I'm saying? Because they will acknowledge your genius. They will acknowledge that it's something different and new. They like it, but I want to have something that they're used to. And I think on the singles we had so far that was really big, for instance, "Touch It," that was a big single for us worldwide, and that was an infusion of a known sample interpolation mixed with the Afro beat.
What's the difference now in just working in music compared to when you first started in terms of just blending genres and coming up with new dope shit?
Wow, I think for me, it's different and it's scary. It's in the sense that you're you can be the sole controller of your destiny. Like if you buy a camera, you buy a body mic, you can set up in your room, you can shoot your own video, you can make your own music and deliver it right to the internet. And I think that's powerful. And I think some people are reluctant because then you're going straight to the consumer. You don't have an A&R department, you don't have a label to organize how you should look, how you should sing, what you should put out. So I think there's a lot of power in that, but a lot of people are actually afraid of that as well, because sometimes you need help or you have a lot of indecision. But I think now it's just for people like me, I think it's a powerful market. It's a powerful market because I already know socially how to make records that people like. Because I've been making records since 1997, since I was a teenager, and I know what people are gonna like. So when I make a record, that's half the battle. The other half is marketing. And the main marketing platform right now at the top is TikTok. You know, you got TikTok, you got Reels, but that TikTok is the top. You know, Triller may become second, third, or fourth, or whatever. But that's powerful because we was able to make a great record. We had a shoestring budget, but we had enough capital to invest in TikTok and getting influencers involved. And once we did that, it caught fire. So I think if that's able to continuously happen, I think, you know, people who are creative, that's a real powerful way to build your numbers up and make a career out of music and not just make it an expensive hobby. You know what I'm saying?
Ooh, I love that. And can I put this in perspective how long you've been in the game? I was born in 1994. He said working since 1997. I was three. I was
Wow.
I was three. That's incredible. And you're still so youthful though. Like this energy you're giving, bro. How do you keep this youthfulness going? I'm curious because I want to do it
Man,
myself.
man, you know what? It's just really just keeping the innocence, just having friends, you know, having family, um, you know, my dad, people that, you know, enable you to remain that kid, like Disney, like Walt Disney, you know what I'm saying? I'm able to still keep that same energy going. And I think, you know,
Love
everything
it.
starts with energy first. And then it's like it manifests into the physical. So if you're able to keep happy best as you can, um, keep your passion, keep doing new projects, keep people, male, female, friends, family, you know, keep people in your circle that's give you that energy. And it's definitely, you know, it reflects in your work and it reflects in, you know, also your health too as well, which is important, you know.
You got a personal story to share that, you know, gives cadence to your points because they're valid points. Just a story of somebody you had to overcome throughout the years.
I would say a story in terms of that keeps repeating in my career. It keeps repeating over and over again. And no matter who, whether I'm working with Diddy's Hitmen at Bad Boy, whether I'm working with Universal Records, whether I'm working with Empire and Kidi, I think this making the story of just always with me being able to make something that everybody's likes, you know, sitting at my kitchen table, sitting at my mom's kitchen table, riding a train and coming up with something that everybody likes. And no matter what happens, the politics, the business or whatever it is, if you make the honey sweet enough, the bees will attract. This is nature, and it's something called biomimicry. When we mimic things in a biological space that, you know, and put them in, you know, make them apply them to us and make them work for us. And I think if you do whatever you're doing in your craft, you just become so flaming hot that someone's gonna come and get that honey. And when they take the honey, they're gonna carry your seeds throughout the world. And I think for me, when I'm working with an artist in Germany, working with an artist in China, trying to get a record placed, just the other day, yesterday, you know, a publishing company sent me an email getting permission to
Yeah.
use I Need a Girl and Last Night, two iconic songs I did with P.
Uh-huh.
Diddy. So that method is like make your best work because your best work is going to sustain you not only during but even afterwards, years later. So I think for
Uh,
me,
yeah, for sure. Especially since it's a sampling age too. Everybody wants to sample classic. From your viewpoint, how does that business go? Just because not everyone knows, it's a lengthy process. What's the best way
yes.
to explain it? You know, easy to understand.
Well, sampling is ironically, you know, whether, you know, when we was younger, there was a iconic soul musician named James Brown, you know, and James Brown had so much soulfulness in his samples, and it was all like a live feel, the bass, the guitar, his dancing, everything was so soulful. So a lot of us, when we first started getting into rap, he was our go-to person as an old school artist that we would take his record and run it through something called a sampler. You can sample from ASR 10, you can sample from MPC, and now you can sample right, just putting it directly into the computer. But we would take a piece of a James Brown record or another soul record that people who are old can say, oh, I remember that song. And it's something from people who are new can say, hey, I may have grew up on that song and it sounds fresh. A lot of people do it. And basically you don't have to sample. They just take the feel or the melody from an old school record and, you know, bring it up to date. Now, if you don't give the people credit who you got it from, then you can run into some problems, which we know about.
But you know what? I don't want to hold you too much longer. You have any final thoughts? Anything you want to leave, you know, a young mind like mine? You know,
Yes,
love this
man. I just want to say this because it's really important. And I know, you know, your readers, your listeners, you know, people that you know, that you service with information, you know, words are powerful, you know.
Yes.
That's, you know, that's why music is powerful, because words is powerful, sound is powerful, vibration is powerful. But then one of the most powerful things is your thoughts. And, you know, you gotta protect, you know, you have an immune system that protects you against disease and coronaviruses, you know, when it's working, it can protect you, but you also gotta have an immune system for your mind. You gotta protect your mind because your mind is special. You gotta be careful. You can't watch everything. You can't listen to everything. Sometimes you may have to go a day or two, you know, without social media. You got to protect your mind because that's where your thoughts at. And your thoughts eventually become things. They eventually manifest. You know what I mean? So I want to say, keep thinking positive thoughts. Keep staying to your passion. Stay focused. Stay disciplined. Stay detailed, and you're gonna accomplish your goals.
I love it, man. Some days you got to go full Kendrick Lamar. You know, got to vanish.
You know it.
And you come back like Drake and be in front of the camera. I love it, bro.
Yes.
Love it. This is Living Good Living.
Man. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it, man.
Anytime with the legendary Jack Knight. That's the only title I can give you is legendary. Nothing else.
Thank you. Blessing.
Anytime, brother. And we out.